Glorilla's troubles just took a shocking turn. After surviving a violent attack while out on bail, she was arrested again, this time for something far more serious. Authorities found marijuana plants growing in her backyard and drugs hidden under the floorboards of her house. How did it all go down? What does this mean for her future? Let's break it all down and uncover the truth behind Glorilla's legal nightmare. Glorilla's first arrest and bail. Glorilla, the Memphis-born rapper who skyrocketed to fame with her powerful voice and fierce presence, was no stranger to overcoming obstacles. But in April 2024, she found herself facing one of her toughest challenges yet, a legal battle that would change everything. On April 16th, around 4 a.m., Glorilla was pulled over by Gwinnett County Police in Suwanee, Georgia, after allegedly making an illegal U-turn at a red light. At first, it seemed like just another routine traffic stop, but things quickly took a turn for the worse. When officers approached Glorilla's car, they noticed that something wasn't right. Her eyes were bloodshot and watery, and there was a strong smell of alcohol and marijuana in the car. The officers began questioning her, suspecting that she might be driving under the influence. When they asked her how many drinks she'd had, she denied being intoxicated, claiming she wasn't drunk. But the officers weren't convinced. They proceeded with a field sobriety test, and it was clear from the footage that Glorilla wasn't in a state to drive. She stumbled through the exercises, failing them all. Things escalated further when Glorilla tried to use her celebrity status to avoid the situation. "Don't you know who I am?" she asked, attempting to pull the famous card on the officers. But as anyone knows, that tactic rarely works when you're dealing with the law. The more she protested, the worse things got. She refused the breathalyzer test and continued to argue, all while officers were searching her car. They found a bottle of alcohol and marijuana in plain sight, adding more charges to her growing list of legal woes. In the end, Glorilla was arrested and taken to the Gwinnett County Detention Center, where she was booked from 6:12 a.m. to 9:41 a.m. She posted a $1,956 bond and was released the same day. But this arrest wasn't just another momentary setback for the rising star. The consequences could have been much more severe: a DUI charge, a traffic violation, and even possible jail time. What started as a routine traffic stop had now spiraled into a full-blown legal nightmare. The police search after the attack. Just when Glorilla thought her legal troubles were behind her, the situation took a shocking twist. After her release on bail, things took an unexpected turn. In July 2025, while the rapper was out performing at the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis, her house in Forsyth County, Georgia, was invaded. A group of armed burglars broke into the home, causing havoc and stealing valuables, leaving Glorilla's family traumatized. Luckily, no one was physically harmed, but the emotional toll of the attack left a lasting impact. As part of the investigation into the home invasion, local authorities returned to Glorilla's property to gather evidence and search for any clues related to the break-in. What they found, however, was far more troubling than anyone could have anticipated. While searching the property, the police uncovered marijuana plants growing in the backyard, a discovery that raised serious red flags. But it didn't end there. Further investigation revealed something even more damning. Drugs were hidden beneath the floorboards inside her house. The marijuana plants were enough to cause a stir, but the hidden stash of drugs beneath the floorboards brought a whole new level of trouble. Law enforcement quickly seized the illegal substances, adding to the growing list of charges Glorilla was facing. Now, in addition to the DUI and the previous charges related to the traffic stop, Glorilla was confronted with felony-level drug charges. Possessing marijuana plants in Georgia is a serious offense, and hiding drugs under the floorboards only intensified the situation. The discovery put Glorilla right back in the spotlight, but this time the stakes were much higher. Authorities immediately moved to re-arrest her, knowing that these new charges could lead to far more severe consequences. Her freedom was now in jeopardy once again, and her fans were left wondering, How could someone with so much at stake make such dangerous decisions? The rearrest and new charges. The discovery of marijuana plants and hidden drugs at Glorilla's home in July 2025 turned her already complicated legal situation upside down. Just when it seemed like she might have a chance to get her life back on track, the rapper was facing even more severe charges. Authorities wasted no time in acting, and within hours of the discovery, Glorilla was rearrested. This time, the stakes were much higher. The new charges were serious felony offenses: possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, and illegal drug trafficking. In Georgia, possessing over a certain amount of marijuana can lead to hefty penalties, including years in prison and massive fines. The discovery of the drugs hidden under the floorboards added another new level of concern, with law enforcement questioning whether this was just a personal stash or something far more dangerous, something that could involve distribution. What made the situation even more troubling was that Glorilla was already out on bail, still awaiting trial for the DUI charge from earlier that year. Her rearrest left many wondering how she could go from being a rising star to facing such potentially devastating consequences. It wasn't just her legal battles that were at risk now. It was her career, her reputation, and the future she had worked so hard to build. For Glorilla, the rearrest was a harsh reminder of the harsh reality she was living. While many of her fans and supporters were hoping for her to move past her previous mistakes, this new development only fueled public skepticism. Some began to question her decision-making. How could someone at the peak of their career make such reckless choices? The idea of marijuana growing in her backyard, hidden beneath the floorboards, painted a picture of someone who might be tangled up in something far more dangerous than they let on. Once again, Glorilla's name was plastered across headlines, but this time, the news wasn't just about a celebrity's brush with the law. It was about a woman caught in a web of poor decisions and mounting consequences. The legal battle ahead seemed even more uncertain than before, and Glorilla was left to face the full weight of her actions. The media scrutiny, emotional toll, and public perception. As Glorilla's legal troubles continued, the media's relentless scrutiny became almost impossible to escape. The rise of her career had drawn attention, but the mounting controversies made her the focal point of constant media coverage. Each new legal battle, personal conflict, and public outburst was met with headlines and viral posts, fueling the public's thirst for drama. For Glorilla, every mistake felt magnified, and the pressure to maintain her image weighed heavily on her mental health. The public's perception of Glorilla began to shift. Once seen as a rising star with a promising future, she now found herself under attack, with people questioning her decisions, her character, and her ability to navigate the pitfalls of fame. Some fans remained loyal, supporting her through the storm, and arguing that she was being unfairly targeted. They saw her as a victim of the media's sensationalism and the justice system's bias. But for many, her legal and personal troubles were a sign that she wasn't in control, that fame had become too much for her to handle. The emotional toll on Glorilla was undeniable. While she continued to work and release music, the stress of constant public judgment was taking a heavy toll on her mental health. Her personal life and friendships were being tested, with people distancing themselves as the drama unfolded. Glorilla had always prided herself on her loyalty and determination, but now she found herself battling more than just the law. She was fighting to keep her sense of self in a world that seemed determined to tear her down. Through it all, Glorilla remained defiant. She took to social media to voice her frustration, claiming that the media had twisted her story and created a narrative that didn't reflect the woman she was. But despite her attempts to reclaim her image, the questions about her judgment and choices lingered. The public was no longer just interested in her music. They were consumed by the drama, making it harder for her to break free from the chaos and focus on what she did best. The breakdown of friendships and relationships. As Glorilla's legal and personal troubles mounted, her once tight friendships began to unravel. revealing just how difficult it is to maintain relationships in the harsh, competitive world of hip-hop. The pressure from her legal issues, public scrutiny, and constant media attention began to take a toll on her personal life. People who had once been there for her were now questioning her decisions, and the loyalty she thought she had in her closest circles was starting to fade. The most significant fallout came from Glorilla's friendship with Gloss Up, a fellow Memphis rapper and one of her day-one supporters. Their bond had once been one of the strongest in the industry, built on years of collaboration, mutual support, and shared dreams. They even got matching tattoos, a sign of the close sisterhood they had. However, as Glorilla's star began to rise, cracks began to appear in their friendship. Tensions began to surface in mid-2024 when small disagreements and misunderstandings started to escalate. Gloss Up revealed in an interview that she felt misunderstood by Glorilla, especially after Glorilla became more involved in her solo career. Gloss Up struggled with the fact that Glorilla seemed to be pulling away as her fame grew. The two friends were no longer able to connect like they once did, and the friction began to show. By June 2024, Gloss Up was emotionally torn in an interview as she expressed the pain of their fractured friendship, revealing how much the distance between them hurt. She said, "I don't even want to go in no more," fighting back tears, explaining how their bond was deteriorating. It was clear that their relationship, once built on trust and loyalty, was now strained by the pressures of success. The situation reached its breaking point when rumors surfaced about Gloss Up allegedly snitching to JT, a QC label mate, about Glorilla's plans to have her jumped. The accusation of betrayal shattered their already fragile connection. This wasn't just a personal issue. It was a business dispute tangled in the complex politics of the hip-hop industry. Gloss Up's label problems and her subsequent dropping from quality control in late 2024 only added to the growing tension. The public fallout was inevitable. Both sides aired their grievances on social media, with accusations flying and dirty laundry being aired for everyone to see. Fans were left wondering who was really in the right, and the hip-hop community watched as yet another friendship fell victim to the pressures of fame and business.
The media scrutiny and public perception. As Glorilla's personal life unraveled, the media and public couldn't get enough of the drama surrounding her. With every new legal development, social media post, and public appearance, the rapper found herself under an intense microscope. The world was watching her every move, and the pressure of that spotlight seemed to amplify her every misstep. What started as a promising career quickly became a whirlwind of controversy, with the media eager to report on her every legal battle and personal conflict. While some fans continued to rally behind her, many others began to turn their backs on her. The media had a way of turning every moment of vulnerability into a headline, and soon Glorilla's legal troubles became the focal point of her public image. The DUI, the rearrest, the marijuana plants, the broken friendships, it all blended together into a narrative of a star who couldn't seem to escape her demons. The public perception of Glorilla shifted from that of a rising rap queen to a troubled celebrity who couldn't stay out of trouble. The rumors and speculation were relentless. Some saw her as a victim of the justice system, a young black woman being unfairly targeted and scrutinized in the spotlight. Others believed she was a cautionary tale of fame gone wrong, a talented artist who let the pressures of stardom destroy her personal life and career. Social media was flooded with opinions, with fans and critics alike dissecting every piece of information, every rumor, and every statement Glorilla made. The media attention was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it kept her name in the headlines, keeping her relevant even in the midst of her struggles. But on the other hand, it painted her as a figure of constant drama, overshadowing her music and talents. The more she tried to focus on her career, the more her personal life seemed to dominate the conversation. The question on everyone's mind was no longer what's next for Glorilla, but rather, how much more can she take? Through all the public scrutiny, Glorilla remained defiant. She took to social media to voice her frustration, defending herself against the attacks and trying to reclaim control over her narrative. Yet, despite her efforts, the media storm continued to swirl around her, and the pressure only intensified. It was clear that Glorilla's journey through fame was far from smooth. Every step forward seemed to be met with another obstacle. The constant media attention, mixed with the ongoing legal issues, left many wondering whether the rapper would be able to escape the spotlight long enough to rebuild her career, or if the damage was already done.
Glorilla's response and attempt at a comeback. Despite the mounting pressure, Glorilla wasn't ready to give up just yet. Determined to regain control of her narrative and prove her resilience, she took to social media, addressing her fans and the public directly. She expressed her frustration with the way the media was portraying her, calling out the way her struggles were being sensationalized. But rather than focusing on the negativity, Glorilla emphasized her commitment to growth, both personally and professionally. In her posts, Glorilla openly admitted the struggles she was facing, but made it clear that she wasn't going to let them define her. "I'm still working, still grinding," she wrote, reminding her followers that success in the music industry doesn't come without obstacles. Her words were a call to action for her supporters to stay loyal and keep the faith despite the chaos surrounding her. However, the road to redemption wasn't going to be easy. Glorilla knew she had to prove herself, not just to the public, but also to her peers and collaborators. Despite the ongoing legal battles, she pushed forward with new music, hoping to reclaim her place at the top of the hip-hop game. But each release came with a weight, a reminder that her personal life was still in turmoil. Fans and critics alike were watching closely. Would she be able to move past the drama and re-establish herself as one of the hottest names in rap? Or was her career on the verge of collapse, weighed down by legal issues and public perception? The pressure to succeed was higher than ever, but Glorilla's determination to keep fighting was evident. Her comeback wasn't just about music, it was about proving that she was stronger than the challenges that had been thrown her way.
Conclusion. Glorilla's journey has far been smooth, marked by both remarkable success and significant struggles. From the highs of her Grammy-nominated rise to stardom to the depths of legal battles and personal conflicts, it's clear that fame comes with its own set of challenges. Her story is one of resilience, but also one of the harsh realities that many celebrities face. How easily a life built on success can be threatened by poor decisions, public scrutiny, and the weight of the spotlight. Through her struggles with the law, her personal relationships, and the media, Glorilla has been forced to confront some difficult truths. But despite it all, she continues to press on, determined not to let her past define her future. Whether she will be able to fully reclaim her career and rebuild her image remains uncertain. What's clear, however, is that Glorilla's journey is far from over, and her ability to rise above adversity will ultimately define her legacy. In the end, Glorilla's story isn't just about one woman's rise to fame. It's a reflection of the price that many pay for success in the entertainment industry. It's a reminder that no matter how high you rise, the fall can be just as swift. Will Glorilla overcome the odds and emerge stronger, or will the challenges she's faced continue to hold her back? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: her fight for redemption is far from over. Thank you for watching. What do you think about Glorilla's journey so far? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let us know what you think her next move will be.